Imagine this. It is September 26th, 1983. Midnight. A Soviet lieutenant colonel sits alone in a dimly lit bunker near Moscow. Alarms scream. The computer screen flashes. 5 American intercontinental ballistic missiles launched, streaking toward the Soviet Union. Protocol is clear. Report the attack. Retaliation begins. In minutes, the world could end. But he doesn't push the button. He waits. He doubts the machine. One man's judgment against protocol, technology, and fear. This is the story of how nuclear annihilation nearly arrived faster than anyone imagined, and how one human decision bought the world another day. The anchoring detail? A simple red start button on the console. It will return with new weight as we go deeper. If this glimpse into the razor's edge of history hits you, hit like now and subscribe. We uncover stories where verified facts reveal the raw human truth behind the headlines. Your support keeps these grounded narratives alive. Stanislav Petrov was a 44-year-old lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Forces, trained as a civilian-educated engineer rather than a pure career soldier. On that night, he was the duty officer at Serpukhov-15, the command center for the Oko early warning satellite system. The Cold War had reached a dangerous peak. Tensions were high after the Soviet downing of Korean Airlines Flight 007 earlier that month, and amid NATO exercises. The Soviet Union had deployed its new satellite-based warning system, rushed into service, partly in response to U.S. capabilities. Before this, communication between superpowers relied on slower channels, diplomatic cables, hotlines that still took time. Nuclear strategy assumed any attack would be massive to overwhelm defenses. A limited strike of just 5 missiles defied logic for a first strike. Petrov's role was to evaluate satellite data and advise superiors. The system fed directly into the chain that could reach Soviet leader Yuri Andropov. Ground radars could not yet confirm over-the-horizon launches in those critical first minutes. This was the world of mutually assured destruction. MAD, where speed of detection and response defined survival. Yet, as we'll see, technology's speed outpaced human verification, until one man slowed it down. The hidden truth is this. Nuclear command systems in 1983 were more fragile and error-prone than public narratives suggested. The OKO system had known reliability issues, and the false alarm was triggered by a rare alignment. Sunlight reflecting off high-altitude clouds above the U.S. Midwest, misinterpreted by the satellites in their Molniya orbits. Declassified accounts and Petrov's own testimony confirmed the computer reported first 1 missile, then 4 more, with the highest reliability rating. Protocol demanded reporting it upward. But Petrov cross-checked, no corroboration from other indicators, and the scale seemed wrong for a genuine U.S. first strike. This incident remained largely secret for years. Petrov received a reprimand for not following procedures strictly, not a medal. The full story emerged later, through interviews and investigations, highlighting how close systems designed for speed came to catastrophe due to untested edge cases. No speculation, primary accounts from Petrov, David Hoffman's reporting, and subsequent analyses ground this in documented reality. The start button symbolized the automated rush toward war that human oversight briefly halted. In the decades before 1983, the nuclear arms race accelerated at a pace few predicted. From the 1945 Trinity test to thousands of warheads on both sides by the 1980s, the capacity for instant global destruction grew faster than diplomatic safeguards. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 had already shown how quickly escalation could spiral. By the early 1980s, early warning systems on both sides prioritized speed, detecting launches in minutes, to allow response time measured in the same narrow window. Soviet doctrine emphasized rapid retaliation. The U.S. had introduced systems prompting Soviet mirroring. Yet, as historian accounts note, these technologies amplified uncertainty. Satellites could err, computers could glitch, and human operators carried the weight of verification under extreme pressure. Ordinary people lived with the background dread of the button, but the machinery of deterrence operated in shadows, far from public view. Petrov, a family man with a civilian perspective, entered this world prepared for duty, not heroism. The alarms erupted shortly after midnight. The screen lit up. Missile launch detected from a U.S. base. Then, another. Within moments. 5 ICBMs. The system screamed start. Petrov later described a funny feeling in my gut. He knew a real attack would likely involve hundreds of missiles to cripple Soviet response. 5 seemed illogical. The new system had flaws. Ground radar showed nothing. For critical minutes, estimates around 23 in total tension. He weighed data against protocol. He reported it as a false alarm to superiors, rather than confirming an attack. No retaliation orders went out. If these verified moments where one person stood between peace and catastrophe resonate, subscribe and turn on notifications. We bring you the documented human core of history. Others gloss over. The start button glowed, a gateway to apocalypse that stayed closed because one officer refused to let speed override reason. Controversy surrounds exact protocols, and whether Petrov's report fully halted escalation chains. Some accounts note he faced interrogation and a formal reprimand for procedural lapses, though the system error was later confirmed and software fixed. The incident stayed classified for years, overshadowed by other Cold War flashpoints. Public knowledge grew through Petrov's interviews in the 1990s and 2000s. Historians debate how many similar near misses occurred, often silenced by secrecy. Critics of nuclear command systems point to this as evidence of over-reliance on fallible tech. Defenders emphasize layered safeguards. What remains undisputed in primary records: Petrov's call prevented immediate escalation. The start button, once a symbol of instant doom, later represented the fragility hidden behind official narratives of control. With the alarms blaring, Petrov faced the ultimate test. The computer, rated at highest confidence, demanded action. Colleagues watched. The chain of command waited. He checked secondary satellite data. It matched. No visual confirmation possible due to weather. Ground radar silent. Time ticking. A real strike meant Soviet missiles must launch soon, or risk destruction. One moment of unexpected humanity. Amid the sterile bunker lights and electronic chaos, Petrov thought not just of duty, but of his family, and the millions who would never know why their world ended. He later said the civilian part of his education helped him question the machine where pure soldiers might obey. He decided, false alarm. He yelled it out. He reported upward without confirming attack. No retaliatory launch. Minutes passed. No explosions. Confirmation came. It was sunlight on clouds. This was not fiction or dramatization. It is documented in Petrov's testimony, investigative reports by David Hoffman, and analyses drawing from Soviet records. The speed of potential war, detection to decision in under 30 minutes, was faster than the safeguards could reliably handle without human intervention. The start button remained unpressed. A system built for speed met a man who chose deliberate doubt. The false alarm was corrected in the system. Petrov continued service, but received no major public honor at the time. He lived modestly in Fryazino, later recognized internationally for his role. The incident underscored vulnerabilities in nuclear early warning, contributing quietly to ongoing arms control discussions. It remains a case study in human factors within high-stakes automation. The start button evolved in meaning, from immediate threat to reminder that technology's speed requires human wisdom. Petrov passed in 2017, his story a verified footnote preventing potential catastrophe. What happens when machines outpace human judgment in the next crisis? In an era of faster systems and new tensions, do we still have room for the doubt that saved the world in 1983? If this fact-grounded story of one man's stand moved you, comment below. What other verified near misses should we cover? Like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep exploring history's human truths together.